So this is a video from Otozi, and it says here, the worst reaction to getting 60 years in prison. So this dude did a heinous crime, and he said something insane to the idea that he got 60 years in prison. He did something fucking crazy. So let's hear it.
This has to be the worst reaction to getting 60 years in prison. Essentially, this guy accepted a plea deal, admitted to taking the life of a Detroit neurosurgeon, and then he used his sentencing hearing to make one of the most absurd statements I've heard in a courtroom in a long time.
Well, I say I'm not a regular person like everybody in this room. I'm not gay as what the prosecutor want me to be. Not a gang member.
Okay. My guy. After I heard that and saw the expression of his lawyer, thinking he just...
Wait, back up. What?
My guy. After I heard that...
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that he was getting over.
Saw the expression of his
Bro, look at that lawyer's face. She's like, oh.
lawyer, thinking he just blew up his entire plea deal. I just need to know everything about this case because this truly was the tip of the iceberg. So the story caught my attention after I stumbled across this court hearing where obviously this guy, he had already pleaded guilty, but he decided that the most important thing the courtroom needed to know was that he wasn't gay. My guy, just not what you're on trial for. You're not on trial for being gay. But hey, once I started digging into what he was on trial for and how he even got there, the story, I just
makes him sound
Pretty gay.
I hope that's what it is. That'd be fun.
had to make a video on it. But don't get me wrong, this whole story is a tragedy, but the stupidity involved is quite entertaining. But unfortunately, the whole story starts off with Dr. Devin Hoover, who was a well-known Detroit neurosurgeon. Let's see where it is. Did you guys know that Canada is south of Detroit? Anyway, so he was a guy who spent years becoming one of the top brain surgeons in the city, and he lived in a massive historic home outside of Detroit in the Boston Edison neighborhood. And he seemed to have his life pretty much figured out. And before anyone asks, yes, Boston Edison is it's a very beautiful area. It's one of those places where you walk through it and you're like, wow, this place is just loaded with money. Apparently Henry Ford used to live there, if that says anything. Regardless, by April 2023, Hoover was 53 years old. And he was planning a trip.
Was Detroit wasn't Henry Ford the one who pioneered the whole like the revolution for like cars and stuff to a degree, making Detroit like be on the map, and then now Detroit is like horrible now.
Trip to Indiana to visit his mother, who was dying of cancer, which is why his family immediately knew something was wrong when he didn't show up. And families don't usually call the police
The automotive industry.
just because someone's an hour late, but apparently something was not right. And meanwhile, something strange did happen in Detroit. The day before Hoover was reported
I wonder if there's someone with the last name Hooter. I'm pretty sure there's someone exists with that name.
missing, police responded
Funny name.
to a complaint about a white Range Rover blocking someone's driveway. Now, that's already just an annoying way to spend your afternoon, but then police looked inside the vehicle and noticed what appeared to be blood. So
Yeah, Ford Morrison. Yes, that was right.
that would naturally elevate something from a parking complaint into a little bit more serious situation. And little did we know that the SUV belonged to Dr. Devon Hoover. So police then went to his house to check on him and nobody answered. They then noticed the back gate was open, which was also unusual, but at that point, they didn't have enough evidence to force their way inside. So they left. Then Hoover's family requested a welfare check. So police returned the next day. And this time they noticed something they hadn't seen before.
Yes, dude,
There
I
appeared
definitely will. Look out for a text soon.
to be blood on the door in the back of the house. But officers then entered the home and what they found inside would shock Detroit because they found Dr. Hoover right there. And whoever took his life had apparently gone through a decent amount of effort to try to make sure nobody could find him. Because inside the home, officers eventually discovered Hoover's body wrapped in a carpet and shoved into a third floor crawl space. And
Oh
whoever
my god. Holy shit.
did all of this fired 2 bullets in the back of his head. So obviously
God.
any accident or medical emergency was ruled out right away.
Yeah, bro, you're going to jail. That was an execution style. The back of his head. Why did you kill him?
Then on top of that, his cell phone, wallet, cash, and credit cards were gone. Expensive watches were also missing. And then of course,
So it was a robbery.
almost immediately after, fraudulent transactions started showing up on his accounts, which is, I guess,
People are so dense. What is wrong with these motherfuckers? Think to yourself, if you take someone's credit card or their phone, they can turn that shit off. They can track the fucking number on the credit card and its history when it's being used. They can know this. I don't know why people steal credit cards anyway. It makes no goddamn sense. Like, why would you do this? After killing the person, like, you just literally let everyone know what you're doing. You're stupid. Like, why? It makes no goddamn sense. You're better off stealing cash from the individual. I'm not even saying doing that at all, but I'm just saying the fact that you took the credit card just lets everyone know that you're using it. You're dumb. Like, stupid. Oh my god, stop robbing people.
always one of the dumbest parts of these cases to me because, committing a crime, that's obviously a terrible idea, but, committing and then immediately going shopping with the victim's money, that feels like a whole new level of stupidity. It's almost like robbing a bank but then posting a selfie from inside of the vault. Because you're just leaving the investigators a massive trail of breadcrumbs, hoping they somehow just decide not to follow them. So he went through all of this trouble of hiding the doctor in a rug in a third floor crawl space to then take his credit card and go on a shopping spree at the mall. Hello? But regardless, at first, police still had a big problem. They know what happened, but they just didn't know exactly who.
Why don't you just get a job, bro? Get a job. You're more guaranteed to get the stuff you want to buy if you get a job. Get a job. Why are you killing people to buy some stupid trinkets? It don't mean nothing. It's just items, dude. You're buying. I'm pretty sure he's not buying anything of value. I'm telling you. You notice the people who rob you is usually buying things of never of value at all. It's not for their insurance. It's not for their health insurance. It's not for anything of value. It's not for their stocks and bonds. None of that shit. It's stupid trinkets that only last for a moment in time, like a stupid phone or a stupid TV. It is always those individuals who will kill you over stupid shit. Yeah, you're better off take off the watch. Shit. I found out there's a place called Cottonfield Village. That exists? That's crazy.
Did it, or at least they didn't have enough evidence to prove it. So while the crime itself is awful, the thing that would really mess the whole investigation up is the fact that Dr. Devin Hoover's personal life was very different from what it first appeared. But apparently it didn't take too long for the detectives to keep coming back to the same name, a 34-year-old Detroit man named Desmond Burks. So at this point, if you're imagining some longtime friend, coworker, former patient, or maybe a business partner, no, that's not where the story's going. Because the relationship between Hoover and Burks was something very different. And this is where the story takes a turn that explains why the investigation ended up taking more than a year. Because according to investigators, the two men, they knew each other extremely well. In fact, when detectives started digging through Hoover's phone records, they found roughly 4,000 text messages. So clearly,
oh Jesus. Okay, so what a dude like this has to be doing with a neurosurgeon. Neurosurgeon lives in a pretty nice area. He has money. He's a neurosurgeon. Why is he talking to this dude? So there's only two reasons he's talking to him. Number one, either the person is three things. They either are family, like they're either their family to a degree, like family friends, or like they say they're lovers, or he has some type of, I don't know, maybe it was a drug thing, sugar daddy. Maybe they're lovers. Maybe they have a very exclusive relationship, or it's drug related. Maybe he was his drug dealer or something, and he owed him. That might be a thing. But I think it's the latter. Maybe it was just his lover.
clearly, these people were talking, and prosecutors would later argue that the messages showed the two men had been involved intimately for years, and that Burks would sometimes charge Hoover for encounters together. And I guess if you're wondering whether that came to a surprise to people around Hoover, the answer appears to be yes. So one of the reasons investigators said this case took so long was because many witnesses were reluctant to talk about the relationship. Prosecutors described the situation as sensitive and personal, which apparently made getting people to help them a whole lot more difficult. And honestly, I mean, I can gotta see why. Like, imagine being a detective.
But this is the strangest part. Why would you tell people you're not gay when we obviously have you have 400 text messages plus, or about 400 text messages, telling people or talking to this individual about being intimate with them? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Detective trying to solve it, and every new piece of evidence somehow makes the situation even more complicated and awkward, because at first it just looked like a robbery that went really bad, and then it looked like a robbery involving someone who actually knew the victim. Then it started looking like a robbery involving someone the victim was romantically involved with, and that's when the digital evidence started piling up. So investigators found phone data that placed Hoover's cell phone at the same area as Burke's after the crime. So surveillance footage then showed someone parking Hoover's Range Rover, where it was later discovered, and apparently that person was carrying a backpack.
You notice when a gay person does something a crime, and they're intimately involved with someone of the opposite sex, they never tell them they're straight. They're not straight. You notice that? Yeah. Okay. The reason I'm saying this, remember we did that one video with that one serial killer who killed his classmates, and he said he wasn't gay or something like that. He wanted to prove that he's not gay when he was doing gay shit in the prison, and when girls were sending him messages saying that. Remember that, right? You never hear a gay person who's actually known to be gay do straight things and let people know that they're not straight. You know what? They automatically call it bisexual. So they acknowledge being straight, right? Like, it makes no sense. You're not wrong. Like, I was like, like, they never denied being straight. They just call it being bisexual now. But when you're straight and when you're perceived as straight and you're considered doing gay shit, you quickly tell people you're not. You don't say you're bisexual. You just say no, you're not. You deny it no matter what, even if you be on camera. You know this, right? Right? You got walking from me, bro.
Back and walking with a noticeable limp, which is important because Burks was apparently known to have been recovering from a gunshot wound to his hip around the same time. And the problem for Burks was that this wasn't the only thing investigators were finding, because when police eventually searched properties connected to him, they recovered expensive watches that belonged to Hoover, including one watch that Hoover had purchased literally the day before his life was taken. So by the summer of 2024, prosecutors believed they had a tight case. I guess the only problem is it had already been over a year since Hoover's life was taken. And during that whole year...
Over a year? Wait. What? It's over a year this man has been in the crawl space? What? People are living a second letter gay or bi. Yeah, I understand that, but it's funny. But when they're trying to play that whole like straight shit, once they're found out that they're gay or they're doing gay shit, they never try to acknowledge the gay shit. Or if they say bi, they try to be very loose with it. You know what I'm saying? They don't really say it, right? But if they're openly gay by default, if they're caught doing straight shit, they call it being bisexual. Right? It should stink like hell. It's been horrendous. Oh my god. I wonder what bugs got up on that. Very loose. I noticed that. So when, like I said, a guy who perceives himself to be straight would always try to... Okay, so let's use like these dudes nowadays. They'll say, like, if they go with someone who's like the T's, right? He'll still consider himself straight because they think that individual is feminine-ish. So that nukes that situation. I'm like, no, that doesn't count. I'm like, that doesn't count. That does not count. It's just that's like saying because the gay man over there is acting feminine, is he a woman? No. Like, no. It is what it is. Like, it doesn't make no sense. It makes no sense. But like, I noticed this when dudes who want to perceive themselves as straight, if they're accused of doing gay acts or proven that they have done gay acts, they quickly are quick to say no, they are not. And even if they're caught on camera and with text messages, they'll tell you they're still not. And it's all made up. It's all fabricated. Everything on the side. But if a person's openly gay and they are known to be gay, but they're found out they was actually doing straight shit on the side, they just say, I'm just bisexual. So they acknowledge doing straight shit as long as they're alongside the gay shit. But they'll never deny the straight shit. That's the funniest part.
Something else happened. Something that would land Desmond Burks back into jail long before he was even charged for the crime against Dr. Hoover. And this is just crazy because one would think that, if you're currently being investigated for a crime, the goal would probably be to avoid drawing any additional attention to yourself. But that was apparently not the route that Desmond Burks chose, because while investigators were still building their case, Burks found himself at the center of an entirely separate case, because on April 17, 2024, nearly a year after Dr. Hoover's life was taken, Burks was driving in Detroit when another driver, 67-year-old Rita Saleh, accidentally bumped into the back of his vehicle. And let's be honest, getting rear-ended, that's annoying. Nobody enjoys it. Most people handle it by exchanging insurance information and then spending 6 months arguing with Progressive or something like that. Who knows? But that is not what happened there. Instead, the two men got out of their vehicles and began arguing. Burks then punched Saleh and left him lying in the street. Saleh then suffered a severe head injury and was taken to the hospital. Then about 3 weeks later, he lost his life. And
holy shit, dude, you're just killing people left and right. Jesus Christ, dude. The dude was 60. You punch a 67-year-old man? What the fuck wrong with you, bro? Like, okay, there is a certain amount of decorum you must have when you see the appearance of someone. When someone is perceived, if you're perceiving them as to be old as fuck, there is a certain level of respect you give them, even if they're being a Karen or a Kevin, or whatever you want to call it. You just say, this is an old bitch, it's whatever, I'm gonna move the fuck on, fuck you, move on. Say that, I don't care. But for you to put your hands on the individual is kind of crazy to me, because remember, you're in your 30s, 40s, or even 50s, you pushing or punching someone that old can kill him. Right? You just left him on the floor, you didn't help him? Let me see, his durability is in that, used to be, I don't know, what do you mean? I don't know. I don't think you should take it to a violent. Like, I understand getting hit in the back of your car sucks and you have to deal with insurance stuff, but like, they take it to a level where you're violently, unless the person hits you, then there's one thing, you can defend yourself. But if you just outright punch this person because you're having an argument, exchange words, you know what I'm saying? You just left them there. You're gonna be a murderer if they die. They're old. It's not like there's someone. I disagree. All right, the elder needs to deserve the respect. Yes, but like, you have to understand, we are sometimes quick to use violence because we are not thinking. The old people are not quick to use violence like that. They'll say, "Oh, I'll call the police," or "I'll call my insurance," or some shit like that. But they're not quick to violence because they're old, and they know if they get hurt, they have to pay this amount of money, or X, Y, and Z. So you have to have a sense of decorum against them and see them as children to a degree. And some people are straight up out of our lives. Yeah. So like, you have to have a form of decorum towards them, even if they're being a Karen, because they're old. They might be suffering from something X, Y, and Z type shit. They might have dementia or some shit. Yes, those are the worst ones. I get it, because they may have like a form of dementia. They have a form of dementia, or they have a issue or something for them. So like, you have to like kind of give them a bit of a pass. But if they put their hands on you, you have every right to defend yourself, even if it was an old motherfucker. But like, I'm saying, elderly bones make great snapping sounds. You are something else. Because if they fall and hit their hip, they'll, I'm saying, it's you're fucked. Now he's even fucked even more. Now he got 2 deaths on his hands.
And just like that, Burks found himself facing a homicide charge in a completely different case. And at this point, they still...
I don't think so. And then given our diet, I think if I remember right, soda makes your bones brittle. I think mostly for women. I think. Like a Kit Kat. It's like they make their bones brittle, like soda, I think, softens bones. So, I'm not saying every old person is drinking soda, but like, not a lot of people have great health at the beginning. Most people don't have great health, especially here in America. We're known to be extremely fat and overweight. So, take a break, walk it off.
hadn't even charged him with Dr. Hoover's homicide. So clearly, things aren't looking good for the guy. Regardless, though, they believe that Burks was involved and had spent months gathering evidence, but they were still trying to build a case strong enough to survive trial. And then suddenly, the same guy they're investigating for one homicide.
Well, then I think of it now, the fact that he knows he killed someone, why would you get violent with someone on the street knowing you already killed someone? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to bring that tension to yourself, but it is what it is.
Homicide is arrested in connection to another one. So
again, I'm not saying it's okay to kill anyone. That is horrendous to do. Don't do that. Don't murder people just because, don't do it because you'll go to jail for like X amount of years. But the fact that you did this and left this man in the crawl space for about a year, and then you think it was okay to punch an elderly man is insane. Now you killed him.
By May of 2024, Burks...
It's a crazy haymaker, just leave him on the floor like that.
Burks is sitting in jail on a $1 million bond for the whole Saleh case. And a few months later, prosecutors finally made the move. In August of 2024, more than 15 months after Dr. Hoover was found in his home, Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy announced charges against Desmond Burks. According to prosecutors, the investigation had stretched across multiple states, multiple countries, dozens of officers, thousands of messages, and mountains of digital evidence, and more than a year of work. And I guess the real question was whether Burks would face them to prove it at trial. So for nearly 2 years, that appeared to be the plan. Burks pleaded not guilty. His attorneys challenged the evidence. There were hearings, delays, competency questions, preliminary examinations, and enough court appearances to make everyone involved wonder if this case was actually ever going to get a jury. And at least from the defense perspective, there was at least one argument they kept coming back to. The evidence was largely circumstantial. Now, circumstantial evidence is one of those phrases that gets thrown around a lot in true crime cases because people hear it and they think it means weak evidence. So I guess to explain a little bit, if your fingerprints are on the cookie jar and there's chocolate chips on your face and you're standing over an empty plate, that's all circumstantial evidence. And it's not really looking great for your defense if you're being accused of eating the last cookie. But Burke's attorneys maintained there was no direct evidence showing him actually pulling the trigger here. And eventually, the case was then set for trial. So by January of 2026, jury selection was underway, and the Hoover family was preparing to sit through weeks of testimony. Prosecutors were then preparing to present years worth of investigative work, but then, at the last possible moment, Burks accepted a plea deal. Just like that. After years of denying everything, he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. He also pleaded guilty to larceny, using a computer to commit a crime, weapons charges, and admitted responsibility in the separate Rita Saleh case. And the deal allowed him to avoid the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison without parole on the original first-degree charge. So what changed? Did he suddenly have a change of heart? Only Burks knows the answer to that, honestly, but after years of saying that prosecutors had the wrong guy, he was now standing in court admitting guilt, which honestly should have just brought the whole story to conclusion. You know, the family, they could avoid a trial, the court could move on to sentencing, but then the hearing came, and before Burks ever got a chance to speak, the courtroom spent nearly an hour listening to members of Hoover's family describe what the crime had done to them. And honestly, some of those statements were just heartbreaking, because remember, Hoover's family wasn't just dealing with this crime. His mother was also dying of cancer at the exact same time. Several family members talked about how they expected to gather around their mother's bedside together, only to find themselves planning 2 funerals the same week, one for the doctor and one for their mother. And again, family members talked about forgiveness.
Desmond, I forgive you. I will not hold bitterness and hatred in my heart towards you for the evil you have done. My wish for you is that you can know Jesus. He says in the Bible that anyone
Laughing. Go fuck yourself. Look at his lawyer looking at him. You piece of shit. you piece of shit. He was laughing. He's smiling his ass off. Look at him. Look at his lawyer staring at him. You piece of shit.
that commits sin is a slave to sin.
Essentially, they don't want to spend the rest of their lives carrying hatred around with them. So one sibling told Burks they forgave him. Another said seeing Burks' mother crying in court changed something in their heart. Now, at one point, they even brought Burks a Bible, which, no matter what your religious beliefs are, it's a pretty incredible thing to do for a person who took the life of your brother. And the entire time all this was happening, people started noticing Burks' behavior. According to courtroom observers, he was smiling, smirking.
This is the devil. Anyone who smiles at the hands of what they've done and don't show any form of remorse, you are the devil. You are the devil's child.
Rolling his eyes, picking at his nails, throwing peace signs, waving, the whole 9 yards.
I like to say I'm not a regular person like everybody in this room.
And those are the two main corrections I want to make in the pre-sentence report as far as information.
I mean, why would you ever do something like this? It's like, come on, dude, what you did is absolutely disgusting. Why do you keep on having to double down on that? I imagine somewhere in that courtroom, his lawyers were experiencing the legal equivalent of watching your toddler sprint towards a swimming pool. Like, you know what's going to happen. There's just nothing you can do to stop it. But finally, Burks got his chance to address the court, and somehow things just got even worse because he immediately started talking about himself.
I like to say I'm not a regular person like everybody in this
court. And somehow things just got even worse because he immediately started talking about himself.
I like to say I'm not a regular person like everybody in this room. I'm not gay as what the prosecutor want me to be.
Yeah, that's a bold opening when you're standing there after pleading guilty to... Clearly, the dude's priorities are completely messed up.
Because he said he never mentioned that he was a patient. He said they knew each other for years and he used to pay him to have sex with him. Yeah, that's no excuse. He paid him to have sex with him. That don't sound like a patient, if anything. I think these are people who met each other under a mutual situation that had nothing to do with literally the job, but then again, you know, he paid him to have sex with him. So, well, the doctor paid him. I think that's the other way around. No, the doctor paid him to have sex with him. There we go.
I said this earlier, but you're not going to jail for being in a relationship with a man, sir. The prosecution is not going to charge you for that. He knows that, right? But I guess the opinion of the random people sitting in the courtroom means more to him than, I don't know, his life outcome now? Because the prosecutor and the judge are the ones with his life in their hands. Like, do you think he took that last minute plea deal just so he got the chance to tell everyone that he's not gay? It's like, fine, I'll plead guilty to as long as they know that I didn't have sexual relations with that man. Excuse me, what? Every day on this channel, I question people's priorities, and this is one of those ones that just has me lost. Also, my guy, I am so sorry to tell you, 4,000 text messages.
And it's not like this was a question because they said they all knew about the relationship. Everyone knew about the relationship. It's not like this was like a secret it was private with them, but everyone knew about the relationship. So this is not like a patient he had sex with, and because if they did, he would have been discharged and he would have lost his license. So I don't think or believe this was a patient, because I told you would have mentioned that at least once. You know, because this was not a secret thing. They were known to be together. People said they knew about it. They just kept it private. So people at his work, people at their job, they knew that they was lovers. So.
It's probably a relationship. I'm not saying what kind, but it's definitely a close one. Regardless, though, Burks himself described Hoover being kind of like a boyfriend during his police interviews. So, did he just not expect that to be brought up in court? And the entire reason the relationship kept coming up was because it was central to how investigators believed the two men knew each other. Like, nobody was standing outside the courthouse
They don't know each other because they're patients. They knew each other because they had mutual wanting of one another. That's it.
Some sort of like weird, I don't know, sexual census. Like, that just doesn't happen. Like, the courtroom wasn't gathered there for some weird special episode of Maury. Like, the issue was that one of the people in this...
No, his actions are erratic because he liked them. And what happened is the doctor probably was using him to have sex with, because remember, the doctor used to pay him, and he probably low-key liked him. But because the doctor rejected his advances of being in an actual relationship, because remember, everyone was under the impression that they was together sexually. But the doctor probably just liked using him sexually, but didn't want to be in a exclusive relationship, like those open relationship bullshits. So when bro said no, that's where he killed him. That's why he made it personal, because he shoot him in the back of the head, you know what I'm saying, twice. That's personal. He didn't just shoot him. He shoot him in the back of the head. So he probably had him sit on. He probably had him like on his knees and shot him in the back of the head type shit, and then put him in the thing. That is too personal of a kill. Basically, that one Family Guy episode with Peter and that doctor. Yep. It's not erratic. It's that he liked him. It was passionate kill. It was a passionate kill of desire. That's what it was. Because why would he kill? Like, think of it. He was getting paid by a doctor, and he was getting sex. You know what I'm saying? So he's getting sex and he's getting money. Why would he fuck that up? Right? So the only reason he'll fuck that up is if he truly liked the doctor and wanted to be in an exclusive relationship with him. That was it. And the doctor probably said, no, I want to do my own thing. I want to be with other people. I want to have flings, this and the third. Bro didn't like that. Took out the 9 and, put 2 hot ones in the back of his head. And then put him in the basement. Or was it crawl space?
Case had their life taken away, and the other dude had just pleaded guilty to doing it. And somehow, Burke seems convinced that the real injustice here was, I guess, the public not understanding his dating history. Excuse me, what? That's kind of like showing up to the Titanic inquiry and saying, before we begin, I'd just like everyone to know that I wasn't really a big fan of the dinner menu. Sir, let's focus on the boat. But I guess the more he talked, the stranger it got, because after explaining that he wasn't gay, Burke's moved on to explaining that he wasn't either. Remember, he didn't lose at trial. He literally pleaded guilty. So, what is he on about? And again, this is voluntarily.
I would at least say he is mentally ill, but I don't think he has brain damage. I think he's just mentally ill. I think he's extremely confused, and as a person, he probably has a warped sense of reality. But he's not mentally ill to the point where he has a brain problem, because that would have been brought up into the trial. His family would have said something. No, this is a dude who was extremely confused, and he went based on his feelings, and he thought because he felt what he felt, it was justifiable to do what he felt. This is why the man got punched in the face at 67 and died, because the old man was not adhering to whatever he was saying. He felt like he needed to put his wrath upon him to show that he is in control of the situation.
With lawyers in court, pleaded guilty to. So his argument essentially became, yes, I pleaded guilty to, but I would like everyone to know that I'm not gay and I'm not okay then. Like the victim's family had spent a morning talking about grief, forgiveness, faith, and healing. Burke's just spent it trying to beat the allegations that at this point weren't even the reason that he was in the courtroom. Because again,
right, like, think to yourself, that one mass murderer who killed his classmates, his only concern when people accused him is not the murders, but him being gay. Somehow being gay is more problematic than him killing and taking the lives of people. That is crazy. This is why the gay thing can't be taken too seriously, because the thing is like all the time the focus is the gay thing. I wonder why no one. I'm pretty sure they did. They have to. They have to because if they look at, if his lawyer will actually bring that up first before the people come after him for whatever he did, the lawyer will tell you we can plead insanity. They always try to do that just to either lower the sentence or for you not to go to jail at all, or just put you in a happy home. There are levels. So like they look but. He might be a murderer, but he'll never be gay. See, that's the thing, right? The sad thing about this is like his focus is his orientation. He doesn't care for the lives of the people he took. And then they look closely at that and be like, okay, let's look at his history, the people he's around, X, Y, and Z, and see how the death happened and what he's doing after that. And then they'll say if he's insane or not. Obviously he's not. He's just a very erratic person who goes based on his feelings and then do whatever he feels like. And then when it doesn't go his way, he leaves and bolts. You know what I'm saying? He's not like he killed the man and then he took his body and then took it home and then string him up on a string and pretending that he's alive and talking to him and stuff and pretending that he's still there. That would be considered an insane person. No, he killed him like any other person, hid the body and left and did whatever he wanted. That's literally what happened. He's not insane. He's just evil. That's it.
And he already pleaded guilty. And eventually the judge had enough.
And bro already pleaded guilty, so he's not like he doesn't know what he's not in sound mind. He's just an ass. He's an idiot. That's it. He's not mentally ill. He's just stupid.
He delivered the line that basically ended the entire discussion. Quite frankly, you're a sir.
All I have to say is, quite frankly, you are a sir. You pled under oath to that, and that's your sentence. Thank you, everyone.
And just like that, the judge sentenced Desmond Burks to 35 to 60 years in prison for taking the life of Dr. Hoover, along with the additional time connecting for the passing of Rita Saleh, which means the dude who spent years denying responsibility, accepting a plea deal to avoid the possibility of life without parole, and then used his sentencing hearing to argue about everything except the reason he was there, will likely spend most or the rest of his life behind bars. So that was the story of a man who looked at his sentencing and somehow decided the biggest misunderstanding that needed to be corrected wasn't the part, it was the fact that he's not gay. And the craziest part of all this is no one would even be asking that question if he didn't take the life of the doctor. But if you want to even crazier deep dive...
Right? This question will never be brought up if you just didn't kill this man, because no one actually cared to a degree. They knew you was, but they didn't care to ask because we live in 2026. But, and somehow that was more important to you than anything else, you evil motherfucker.
This video shows an influencer realizing she's actually going to get life in prison. I'll be linking it here and in the comment section down below. But without further ado, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.
All right. I think that's all the videos that we've done. I think we're done for today. We did a lot today. So I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you guys for coming in. It's 9 o'clock, so have a great night, guys. You guys are amazing. I appreciate every last one of you. And yeah, we'll do more reactions probably tomorrow, or maybe in our time once I get all these edited. I don't think I'll do any more reactions until I get all the videos edited. So it makes it easy for me to keep up with them. So with that said, have a great night, guys. Keep safe. Keep trying. Keep doing what you do best. And thank you, Sel, for sending me those pictures of the Robin cosplay. That's really nice of you. Thank you. I appreciate my dude. And have a great night, guys. Keep safe. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're gonna finish the Hawks drawings tomorrow, most likely. Have a good night, guys. I'm out.